Hi everybody, Michael Hanrahan here, and today I'm going to show you what to do when you receive your file back from your editor. So the first thing you have to do is make sure that track changes is turned on. This is important. It allows your editor to see any changes that you've made and also allows you to see what they've done. So if you have a look here, I'm on a Mac, depends what what version of Word you're on, but I've got a little tab up here, which is the reviewing tab, and you can see there, very easy to turn track changes on and off. The other place you might find this is in the Tools menu, Track Changes, Highlight Changes, and again, you can turn it on and off there. So it will probably be turned on when you get your file back from your editor, but it's a good idea just to make sure. Now, once you've done that, the first thing I encourage authors to do is have a flick through the whole book. So just run your eye over it, and this will allow you just to assess the level of changes that your editor has made. So you can see here, text that your editor has added will show up in red usually, might be blue, doesn't matter. Then down the side here, you can see in the red box text that has been deleted, and in yellow comments from my editor, Charlotte. So have a quick look through the book, just run your eye over everything. This will just give you a bit of an idea of what's been done. So you can see here there's a few words added here and there, and a few words deleted down the side. If you click on an individual change, you can see the line comes up to show you where that was deleted from. It looks a little bit untidy. Sometimes authors have a bit of trouble getting their head around it, but once you get used to it, you should be able to see fairly clearly what changes have been made. So that's a good first step, is just to run your eye over it to get an idea of what's been done. Now, the next thing to do is to have a careful look through the book, and this is where you go through and look at all the changes individually and make sure that you're happy with them. So what we'll do, we'll start here because this gives a bit of an idea of what's been done. So if we have a look here, we can see where Charlotte's deleted a few words and added a few words. So I'll just have a read through this and make sure that I'm happy with it. So I can see the changes that she's made, check through these and make sure I'm happy with what she's done. Now, there's two possible outcomes. Obviously, I can be happy with what she's done, or I can want to make further changes. So if I am happy with what she's done, I can just tick the little tick down here. So you can see each change has got a little box. The other thing you can do, if you select a paragraph and hit the accept button up here, obviously all of those changes become accepted at once. Or the other option, and this is what I tell authors to do when I'm working with them, is just leave them there and don't do anything. It's just another thing to do if you go through and accept them all. It actually takes a while and is a little bit fiddly. So I tell authors not to worry about that too much. If there's a change in there that they've left, I'll presume they're happy with it. Now, the next question is, what do you do if you're not happy with the change? Now, there's a little reject button down here or a reject button up here as well. The problem with doing that is then your editor won't be able to see what you've done. So what we always suggest to authors is, if they do make a further change, rather than using the reject button, is to just make the change directly into the text over the top of what's already there. So you'll see if I type something in here, you can see that it shows up as a change, and then your editor will be able to follow exactly what you've done. So that's instead of using the reject buttons to make changes. So work your way through the book, having a look at everything your editor has done. If you leave it there, they'll presume that it's okay. Otherwise, you can make further changes yourself. Now, the next thing to do, the next thing that we suggest that you do is turn off the changes. So, hide the changes, not turn them off, just hide them. So you see here, track changes is still turned on, but I can hide or show the changes. So if we have a look here, I've got final showing markup and the changes show up, or just final. So I haven't turned track changes on or off, I've just hidden the changes. So you don't need to worry too much about those two. The two you'll use most will be these two. So we suggest that you turn off, hide the changes, and then what I suggest you do is read the book again, start to finish. So the reason you hide the changes is it just makes it a little bit easier to read the book start to finish. You don't have red boxes everywhere and highlighting and all that sort of thing to distract you. So then you can read the book through start to finish, just to make sure that you're happy with everything. Now, because you still have track changes turned on, any changes that you make, your editor will still be able to see. So if I put in some new text, we show the changes again, you can see that that new text shows up in a different color and your editor will be able to see it. So that's the difference between hiding the changes and turning them off. So you want to make sure they're still turned on but just hidden. So then what you do once you've done that, it's time to send the file back to your editor. So send it back looking exactly like this. So you've got your new text you've added, still got all of their changes in, is usually the easiest way to go. And then your editor will do the exact same thing. They'll go back through the book start to finish, checking everything that you've done. There's usually a little bit of tidying up after that, so they might ring you up or there might be a few emails to go through the changes just to sort out any last queries that they might have. Now, a couple of other things to keep in mind at this point. It's important to realize that this is not the final file, so there's still a number of checking stages to go, so don't be alarmed if you find any mistakes in here. There's probably still a few typos in this file, a few commas in the wrong place, that kind of thing. That's absolutely fine. There's still proofreading to go and another number of checking stages, so that will all be tidied up. And of course, if you do find any mistakes, do fix them. The other thing to keep in mind is that your text should be styled. So if you have a look here at the preface, when I click on this, you can see down the side, this has been styled as what's called a heading 1, and this has been styled as a heading 2. And so you can see all the text has got different formatting. So this text here is called body text. If we go down here, we can see in this palette over the side here, these are called bullets. Now, the reason this is important is that when you get to the typesetting stage of your book, this tells the designer how each element of the text should look. So that's very, very important. People sometimes think it's the designer's job to know that. It's actually not. It's the editor's job to apply that style. Your designer won't read the book in any great detail, so it's very much up to the editor to style the text so that each element is formatted correctly. So that's what to do when you receive your file back from your editor. I hope you found that useful, and I wish you all the best with your publishing.